BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with OCR Buddy and OCR Strong. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related. Welcome to BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Mike with BeastNet, and today I've got with me Dan and Joey again to do a recap of the para championships and talk about how that went and what the future holds. So
Hi,
how are we
Joey.
doing, gentlemen?
We're doing good. We're doing good. So
Doing fantastic.
I'm gonna make Joey kick this off and tell us.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you're gonna tell us what when you arrived on site, some of the chaos and some of the stuff you had to figure out when you arrived on site a couple days before the weekend actually started. Because this weekend was more than just 2 days for us.
Yes, it was. I actually arrived on site Wednesday morning and found out very quickly that we had to redo parts of the course. And because of just different things, varying things, and one being that I think you said, Dan, that someone decided they were going to build a hotel on part of the course that we had initially looked at last year. So that was fun, having to go out and redesign part of the course for that. And other challenges along the way with, having street closures and navigating through parking decks and avoiding traffic and working with that. That was some of the chaos. But you know what? As Dan mentioned before too, with the team that we had on site, the blue shirts and the whole Spartan staff, they made it work, man. They came through in a time crunch and it was beautiful. It was a great thing to have it all just ready to go by Saturday morning for the VA, and then of course for the para championship on Sunday.
That's awesome.
One of the biggest challenges, Mike, that the team had to face is we had a company, Unicity, that actually had a private event on Friday. So the team had to be race ready and like regular weekend race ready by the time they left on Thursday, which was interesting. It's not what we're normally having to do. And since they were in the middle of town near a outdoor venue where restaurants and other entertainment goes, they couldn't work late because they couldn't be making, putting stuff in the ground and running equipment when they were trying to have a restaurant with entertainment happening less than 100 yards away. So they were limited how late they could work. There's apartments across the building from where the thing was, plus 3 hotels. So they couldn't start work at 6 a.m. and start having machinery moving around at 6 a.m. So it was interesting for the team, but they said they pulled it off. I think on Thursday they were off site by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and ready for the weekend. Really cool event for the company on Friday. And then we started off with a bang on Saturday.
Yes, we did.
The VA Veterans Hospital, that's right there, about 2 blocks away from where the venue was. We had our 7th time of taking their folks out on the course with help from, obviously, Dealers of Hope and Oscar Mike and all the teammates from both of those groups coming together and making sure that we did something we haven't done before. We had 37, I think, total veterans out on the course, Joe, I think was the final count. That is the most we've ever taken out. We also had some executives from the actual Veterans Administration on site because they wanted to see what we've been doing for the past couple of years. And we had members of the teams and the actual athletes that were going to be competing on Sunday out with us. So they were out there. They were talking to the veterans. They were talking to the folks in the wheelchairs about how they do what they do. And, to be honest, at the end of the day, they also got a sneak peek of the course, too. So they got a chance to go out there and take a peek at a little bit what it was going to look like for them when Sunday rolled around. And, again, for me on that one there, and Joey, I'm going to have you talk a bit about just what you saw with the parade. We walked them up to the start line stuff. But, again, to me, the coolest thing there, and I know, Joey, you had some conversations, too. This is the first time that we didn't have to cut course for any of the veterans. The doctors for the veterans have a strict, and I'm talking strict 2-hour time limit. If there's anybody on the course They don't care where they're at. They don't care if they're 200 yards away, you're ready to approach the A-frame. They will pull them off the course. And we have been fortunate every time, all 7 times, no one's gotten pulled off a course. This time, nobody had to cut course. All 37 veterans did the entire 5K all the way through, as many obstacles as they could, and they all finished, which was probably, for me, one of the coolest things about it. How about you, Joy? What I know you had some conversations, quite a few conversations.
Yes, I did. And well, kicking it off, like you mentioned, just the way we had them line up 2 by 2 at the staging area, and then cut around through the festival area, and just have the entire crowd just stop and pay attention and listen to Patrick as he was giving them one of the most phenomenal start line speeches from the main stage area. And everyone's just attention was drawn to all of these athletes just coming through, and it made them feel so special, which is part of what we wanted for them, just like with the para group as well. But and Dan mentioned some conversations that I had. Tears were had. One of those executives from the VA administration pulled me aside when all was said and done, and she'd never been before, by the way. It was her first time experiencing this, and she just said, Joey, I can't believe what I just witnessed. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, with tears in her eyes. I mean, she was really holding back, but you could still, I mean, she was still tears streaming down her cheeks, and she's like, I really see some potential for bigger and better things in the future for you guys, and hopefully, and I'm sure Dan will want to talk about this since he's more in the know about what's going on with this. But we're going to be doing more with our VA coming up and continuing this great thing we're doing with them. And again, just having conversations with some of the VA athletes during and after the event when Abby decided to join us again was spectacular. They were just so thankful. And as a matter of fact, I'm having 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 of the, not just athletes, but some of the teammates from the VA who came out are joining us in Central Florida in just a couple of weeks. They're just excited about what they saw and just ready to get back out. It's going to be extremely, extremely amazing to have some of these athletes and their teammates, and all, which include family members, come out with us in Central Florida.
Yeah, then
that's awesome.
And Mike, we got done with that again this weekend. Saturday, I kept in my head marking off. Okay, I'm 1/5 of the way done with my checklist for the day. I'm 2/5 of the way done with my checklist for the day. The next thing was we had to celebrate these athletes and their teammates. 14 members or 14 athletes for this event. Not quite big enough to do a full parade of nations. Would have been a pretty short parade.
Yeah.
So what we did, and I think it worked out really well, is right after the kids awards happened, we postponed and delayed a little bit the adult awards, and right in between the two of those, we introduced all the athletes up on up to the front of the stage, celebrated the countries they were from, had their teammates up there, and we had a really nice crowd out there to celebrate all these athletes coming together for this. I believe everybody seemed to think that was a good way to do it. Really pretty intimate, yet still a big crowd there at the same time. The ability to celebrate each of them, which is pretty cool. And we got done with that. Then, again, one of the coolest parts of the whole weekend. Again, I'm a little biased on this, but I got the bright orange shirt over my shoulder here. We decided to do the second time doing the teddy bear crawl from the venue there right to the hospital. So there's Nemours Children's Hospital happens to be a half a mile away from the venue. So the distance is perfect right up to the front door.
Awesome.
Yep.
And I think was cool is the athletes, the para athletes joined us and their teammates joined us. So it had to be right at 100+ people in this event going over there. With the wheelchair athletes had the bundles of teddy bears on their laps, so they were fully engaged in it. We had Joey and Henry were in full
Mark.
on bear costumes in 90-degree weather. I don't know how they did that because everybody else was sweating enough the way it was, but I do believe Mark had no choice because
Right. Yep.
Joe raised money to make him do it. But we got those
That's
bears
right.
over there and got them delivered with 240, I think it was, total teddy bears delivered to the hospital.
Yep.
Which again, you know this, Mike, because you've
Mhm.
delivered teddy bears to the hospitals there.
Yeah.
And usually we deliver them days or
After.
weeks after the event. This was right then and there. It was pretty cool. We got done with that. Everybody got a really tiny break because then as soon as the last heats were gone for the sprint for the day, Joey, I talked about this the last time we got together and talked about it. Now I want to hear your take on what was it like to do the walkthrough and the athlete briefing live on the course.
Dan, I think that probably, no matter how many times we told them to read the rules, just being able to take them, okay, here's a 4-foot wall. Here's how you're going to do this. And we went through the visually impaired category, went through the upper extremity categories, went through the lower extreme, the wheelchair. And we demonstrated for everyone exactly what they had to do on the 4-foot wall, on the monkey bars. And then we just pretty much told them, this is how it's going to be on all the rigs, anything where you're hanging, this is how you're going to have to do this. And the one thing that we got probably some of the most not so wonderful feedback from was the length of the bucket carry and the sandbag carries. But I mean, like Dan said, this was a elite event. So we didn't want to make it too easy on them. We wanted to make sure they got their money's worth. And that and then also the challenges for some of the athletes at the one obstacle that was the burpee penalty, which was the spear throw. Their chosen representative to do the burpees, if they actually failed the spear throw themselves, they wound up doing 60 burpees. So there were a few that were not too happy about that. And as Dan also mentioned on another time, was that we coming near down to the wire, we had 2 wheelchair athlete teams coming up between the hoist and the spear throw at the same time. So it was kind of up in the air for a minute who was actually going to take first and second place. But then one of the teams, I want to say, I think, Dan, you mentioned that every one of the team failed the spear throw. So they all wound up having to do burpees, and the one had to do 60. So that really just nailed it for who was going to be coming in first for that. But getting back to what you mentioned, having them walk the course and just visually see just gave them kind of that aha moment. All right, this is going to be a challenge where having not only the athlete have to complete the obstacle or do the penalty loop, but having every one of the team members also have to complete the obstacle or do a penalty loop. That it solidified that, all right, we're going to have to step up our game here. So that was pretty cool to see. And then, of course, the whole time we're out there, even on Saturday during the walkthrough, just the banter and the jawing back and forth between the athletes. It was exciting to hear them just going after one another. That was fun. That was fun. And then starting on Sunday, coming out of the gate, I mean, it was like some of the wheelchairs were like bumping tires and just trying to not. Almost like a NASCAR event, like who's going to run who off the road kind of mentality. But it was fun. It was fun, and they had a blast.
Now, I thought was cool, Joey, is so after we finished that walkthrough, right? So we're out there, and the banter's going on. We're coming back through. We hit those last, all the last obstacles that were coming into the festival area, and then it was time for, again, anybody who knows me, and more people are finding out about it that probably didn't know before, but I'm a pretty laid back person when it comes to food. I'm not somebody who usually goes to I don't go to a fancy restaurant. I will go to a really good barbecue place before I go to a fancy restaurant, or I'll go to the the seafood place that's on the water, just because I want that atmosphere of being on the water. I don't care about the formal dining. So we had Up and Smoke, the barbecue vendor at the venue. They stuck around a couple hours for us and provided dinner for all the athletes and all the teammates. And while we were all bantering out there and going back and forth on the course, man, as soon as we got underneath the tent and just started talking to each other, it looked like one big family.
Yeah.
Sitting side by side, having conversations, talking about what tomorrow's going to be like, talking about the journey to get here, all that. And they stuck around later than I did. I mean, there were still quite a few of them sitting underneath that tent when I headed home that night. So I thought, for me, that was really cool. That was the perfect culmination to the end of that day, was just that sitting around having good conversation, knowing that tomorrow, the gloves come off and we're going after each other.
Yeah. Just something about breaking bread together just really unites people. That was a very cool moment.
See, now I'm definitely having FOMO. I really am not happy I missed it, but
it's always next year, Mike.
always next year. Yes, yes. So as soon as they announce it.
Listen, Mike. If there's anybody on this chat right now who knows how badly I want to announce where it's at, it's poor Joey, because him and I've had enough off air calls and conversations with each other.
Yeah.
Like we what I'm allowed to say and what I will say is this: it is one of two spots. One location is here in the United States. One location is on the other side of the pond. Both locations that we're talking about. So, by the way, Orlando's not one of them. Both locations that we're talking about have very high level Paralympic training facilities and facilities that are meant for this group of folks nearby, which is what we're trying to do. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where I want to take this to. I want to take this to where, the Paralympic Committee is looking at what we're doing.
Yep.
We can work with World OCR and USA OCR and the sanctioning bodies. And when we get done, this is not a Spartan World Championship. This is the World OCR Championship of para competition. So there's a lot more behind the scenes than it was really fun to hold in Orlando. Now, it was really fun to hold it in Orlando because it was really handy for me. I just had to wake up, go kitty corner from across the office, and I was at the venue, which was nice. But
it's always good.
So, Joey, let's talk about Sunday morning.
Oh, man.
The energy, Sunday morning.
Sunday
9
morning.
a.m. What was that energy like underneath all those tents?
Wow. I can't tell you the last time I felt such a buzz in the air. And maybe it was because we were right next to the speakers or main stage. But, I mean, the fact when we pulled the volunteers from RWB and the military personnel who came out, I mean, just looking at their eyes as you were breaking down each obstacle's rules and regulations, I mean, it's just they were excited. And I don't think I've ever seen volunteers that excited to get out on course. But then as we were walking around the staging area, just, the laughter and the excitement and just how the focus came into these athletes. It was amazing. And the competitiveness just took over. They were dialing it in, just really getting ready to go out and just give it their all. And it was great to see that. I mean, I think I pulled Blind Pete aside at one point because of a conversation he and I had years ago about, he asked me at one point, do you think we'll ever get to the level where I'll be able to compete against other visually impaired athletes on a world stage? And I reminded him of that conversation. And he just said, pinch me, man, because this just doesn't seem real. that this is happening. I'm like, Pete, this will get our foot in the door, my friend, to bigger and better things for para athletes worldwide, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide. And I remember walking by Jolene and Amy and Julie and PJ and just kind of eavesdropping in on their conversation. And they were just talking strategy. And I love that. I love that. Here's what we're going to do on this obstacle, and here's what we're going to do. And a few times they tried to pull me aside. Okay, what do you think about it? I'm like, I'm not. You don't ask me. I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on this. This is you and your team. You come up with your best strategy. Dan and I have on the podcast we did prior, and in the walkthrough yesterday, we kind of went over. Here's how we would do things, but I said we're less than an hour now from go time, and you need to be solid in your plan and of your plan of attack and how you are going to do this. So they understood that it was their moment, and they loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it's I watched you talk to them. There's actually a really cool photo that was taken of you standing in front of the start line.
Oh, that one. Yes.
And they say a photo is worth 1,000 words or whatever that saying is. That photo was priceless. Because if that photo was exactly what was happening at that moment.
Yeah.
That was you in front of a group of people that your passion from 1996 was flowing through. I can't believe that picture got taken, right? I mean, the chance of that picture getting taken that way at that angle, and then I know you went through before it started and made sure you got a selfie with every single athlete.
I did.
That way it was captured. And again, so Mike, I wish people would have taken video of us taking video, because they threw us on these little 4x4 stand-up off-road scooter type things.
I have a few of those.
The military actually uses overseas for going through the desert and stuff. And I'm standing up, and Joey's hanging on for dear life on the seat behind me, and trying to record video, and we are flying across this property. And I really wish somebody would have recorded us recording video, because that was interesting all in itself. But we got out there able to cheer people on. I think it was amazing that we got to not be involved in the actual race.
Yes.
And let the athletes and their teammates go after it themselves. And then that way we could go out there, see how things were going, see how the flow was going. The goal was to be back at the finish line for every single athlete. We didn't quite pull that off. Somebody ran too fast. But other than that, every other athlete we were there for, except for, unfortunately, the first place guy, who finished the super in 1 hour and 10 minutes. He just crushed it. They said, "Yeah, John's coming around to the chain carrier." I'm like, "Oh, we had a little bit of time." Yeah, we didn't have any time. By the time we got over the finish line, he was through finish line and was back looking for Tamara, who was a little bit behind him. So
I was running from the hoist, trying to yell at Dan. He's at the finish line. We didn't make it. Didn't make it.
So John did cross the finish line twice, which is great. He crossed it with Tamara also. So that was nice of him to allow us to see him at the finish line. But Mike, it was probably the coolest thing I have seen in a long time. The only thing I relate to it is the first time we took the veterans out from the hospital in Sebring a few years back, 3 years ago, I guess now. That's the only thing that I can compare it to. I mean, again, and I would be totally remiss if I don't stop for a moment and say this.
Yes.
We do not get where we are. We did not have this event without the groundwork that was laid by the athletes pre-COVID for the championships that we'd had in the past, the team para championships we'd had, most recently in Laughlin in 2019, with the teams that were there that laid the groundwork to make sure that the para athletes had a voice and were recognized. Yes, it took us a while to get it back up and running and do it, but we didn't want to do it for the sake of doing it. We wanted to make sure when we did it, it was done right. I believe we did it right here. The common theme that I heard from folks is we really want it to be where, we're competing in our categories against folks in our categories. So like, Blind Pete and James Gilliard competed in the vision impaired, and we had 6 wheelchair athletes out there. But again, this doesn't happen. John DeHaan was out there years ago. Tim Frame, who was actually there taking a whole bunch of videos and a whole bunch of pictures and was at the finish line, he was there back in 2019 and on a team. There were a lot of folks that were involved. Earl Granville was involved in getting that, helping us get this back up and running again. He was with John. They reached out to me together back in the end of 23, early 24 is when they reached out to me the first time and said, "Hey, can we start talking about this again?" So again, we definitely want to thank those folks who that made sure that we had something to build on, and now we're going to continue to build on it. And we saw that we saw all that work come out in when these folks were crossing the finish line. We had to move the deadline to the cutoff time up a little bit because a storm was literally coming across the horizon at us. So instead of a 4 o'clock award ceremony, we had a 3 o'clock award ceremony, which moved the cutoff time a whole hour up. And so the last 2 athletes, we had them miss a few of the obstacles, maybe 1/8 of a mile of distance, but just a few of the obstacles there in the festival area, so that everybody crossed. I mean, the last one crossed at 2:44, and the cutoff was 2:45, so they made it by the cutoff. So everybody crossed the finish line, officially finished the race, and we got the award ceremony done. We got it at 3 o'clock. Or 3:05 because our Spartan computer decided to do a system reset at 2:59. So we could not do the awards at 3 o'clock. Nobody would just take my word for it. It's like, hey, we had 14 people. I saw them cross the finish line. I can tell you but we like to give the time that they actually finished in. And Patrick is a pretty good big stickler as the main stage DJ to do it right. So we had to pause 5 minutes for that, but it was pretty cool. We had everybody come up on stage, get their deltas, and that was the other cool thing about it is the way we had it. We had individual sponsors step up and give us small amounts of money to sponsor certain parts of the championship. So one of them sponsored the fact that we could do deltas for first, second, and third. It wasn't the medals that we give out like for age group. It was the deltas like we give out for the elite athletes. So these folks all got deltas for their podiums. Great photo at the end. Lots of tears, Joey, right? I mean, a lot of tears up there on stage. Joey is right. Yesterday we talked about this. We missed the opportunity for probably what could have been the coolest picture on event day afterwards would have been one of us taking a picture from the stage.
Right.
Because we're the only 2 that saw what we saw.
Yeah.
And this was the people out there in the audience at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, knowing that you could see the clouds coming in.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a Code Irene that got cleared the whole place at 4 o'clock. And they were right there. They were right there with us. So what else, Joey, on race day while we're out there, awards really sinks in for you?
Well, I have to mention to piggyback on something you said about the 2019 Laughlin and just what those who went ahead of us, what they did. And I have to mention John again today for what he did when he crossed the finish line. Just ran right up to me, grabbed me. I mean, I've known John DeHaan since 2015, I believe, and I've never seen this kind of emotion from him. He's seemed rather subdued and just laid back, and but not this day. He just grabbed me, hugged me, and the man just started crying. And he was just like, thank you for what you guys have done. Because those of us across the pond really thought this was just going to die. So thank you, and Dan and Spartan and everyone who was involved, because now I think we have a future. And he was just so excited and emotional about that. And Tamara, when she came across the finish line, she tears in her eye. I mean, they all had tears in their eyes when they came across the finish line because they just left it all out there on course. But she also just said, thank you. This was amazing. I can't wait to see where this goes. But just that from John in that moment was phenomenal. And then little Gavin, same thing. Everybody loves Gavin, man. He was just so pumped up when he crossed the finish line. He was yelling and hooping and hollering, and you look over to the side and see his dad, Brad, standing there, just so much pride and looking over his son. And he's just looked at me. He's like, I am so glad you mentioned this to me because Gavin needed this coming off this brain surgery that he had just had. And this was kind of his comeback because he hadn't really done much since the brain surgery he had just a few short months before. So this was a big thing for him. And just the emotion that little Gavin had was amazing. But again, they all, Amy, Julie, PJ, all the tears, Alejandro. I mean, I could go on and on. Guy just signs up at the last minute, okay? Never done a Spartan before. And he's coming out here on arm crutches, does the entire super, the entire time with a smile on his face. And he was just, at the end, he looks at me, he's like, this is amazing. I'm going to keep doing this. You need to stay in touch with me because I got to know more about this stuff. I'm like, we got you, man. So.
You know what was cool about that, Henry, though? Or about that, Joey, was Henry. So
yes.
Henry drove from Texas just to help out.
Yep.
Had not planned on running, had not planned on being on a team. Just wherever you need me, I'll do it. Whether it's I'll be a volunteer, I'll be at an obstacle, I'll help with the VA heat, whatever it was. And
that was pretty cool.
Said, yeah. So you guys are all standing around the pickup, and I'm on the phone with him. He's like, "Well, I'm coming tomorrow." I'm like, "Well, do you need a teammate?" Well, I might. I probably do. I don't have one. So I looked at two people who both, Henry was one of them. I said, "Hey, are you guys both available?" They both, and neither one of them hesitated at all. And come Sunday morning, I looked at Henry and said, "It looks like he's going to be like he can't put his crutches down at the beginning of the barbed wire crawl, go through barbed wire crawl, and then hop back to the beginning on one leg. So he'll need some help." So Henry was right there with him all the way through it.
Yep.
And he had not. I will tell you, seeing him at the end of the race, you could tell he did not plan on racing that day. He was not prepared to be out there in that heat. Man, just like he does. And again, those who listen to this and know who Henry is, man, there's only one Henry, which is good and bad, all at the same time. And he'll say the same thing. So, but that again, you looked at this community, and one of the things that still catches me, just like first and foremost, is when we have an athlete who is going to be competing again this year in the DECA World Championships, and is an elite athlete within our OCR community. Say, absolutely, when do you need me? And he's on one of the teams, on one of the wheelchair teams. To see Kevin Gregory out there, I mean, that again just talks volumes to the community, the OCR community. I mean, I know a lot of people say, well, it's the Spartan community. Well, it's actually, it's the OCR. It is this athletic family of people who, you tell me what you need, and if there's any way I can do it, I'm going to pull it off for you. And these folks came, I mean, again, Vermont. Gregory's from Vermont, came all the way down from Henry drove nonstop from Texas after getting off work to be here. And then he worked all day as soon as he arrived. he worked all day helping set the course up and helped with festival, and then did all this other stuff, right? And then I don't know, Joe, if you saw it, but on Sunday he was
yeah,
tearing down on Sunday. He was carrying
yeah,
fence panels on Sunday. As soon
yeah,
as the rain stopped and we let people back out there, he was tearing fence panels down.
yeah.
So
I think I even saw him at registration at one point. I
yes,
mean,
yes.
Henry was everywhere, man. He was all over the place.
So
Um,
Mike, again, and I know you know this. You've been in this. You've been in
Yeah.
this community for a long time. You do this because you're in the community, and
Mhm.
and I think of other competitive sports and disciplines and just things out there. I can't think of very many that the most competitive, high level athlete will stop and help every other athlete as they need it. And
No.
and ours do.
No, they do, and I mean that's one thing that I've always loved about the OCR community. I mean, because you guys know I do triathlons. You don't see that in triathlon. You
yeah,
don't. You're on your own. I mean, you have someone. I've been on courses where someone's wrecked. Maybe one or two people stop to see if they're okay. Everyone else just so right on by. You
yeah,
don't see that kind of, and there's a couple like some of the ones around here do have para like heats for their triathlons, but other than that, I mean, there's not that community. There may be a little bit of like conversation in transition area, stuff like that, but not like, oh, hey, do you need a hand? And someone going out of the way to help others.
right.
You see it so much in OCR where
Mhm.
someone has a problem and people will stop. I think it was a couple years back during like World's Toughest Mode. I can't remember who it was, but one of the ladies went over one of the obstacles and was in first place, turned around to help the other second and third place up over the obstacle, and then they all took off together. And you're like, where else are you going to see that? The first place runner stop to turn around and help the two runners behind her.
Yeah,
Only in the OCR community.
that's right.
Well, and what was cool is the very next weekend. So we're in Newberry the very next weekend, and essentially, I mean, Blind Pete came out of retirement to compete in
Yeah,
the Para World Championships.
Yeah.
Then he turns around, for the very next weekend. Now, I mean, he didn't make. He got to transition, so and that
Yeah.
and then and that. I mean, but that was enough for that day for him for the ultra. But man, he was out there with the same Blind Pete attitude and
Hmm.
yeah.
being a
Yeah.
smart aleck the entire time through, having a good time, just being himself, right? And
Yeah,
I love the fact that I had not met him until World's Toughest in Central
Mhm.
Florida last year.
right.
That's the first time I'd ever met him. I'd never had the pleasure to meet him I never raced around him, and I had met you before the pandemic, Joey. So
Right.
To watch him and just be out there talking with him and stuff for that ultra. I mean, I can't wait to the next race he does and gets ready for what's in front of us. So I don't think he's the only one. I think everybody that was out there competing will have a different attitude for the next 12 months or 10 months
Absolutely.
or whatever it is that
Absolutely.
before we do this again, because uh, they know how they could get another 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, and maybe somebody on their team's like, you know what, maybe I wasn't the best person to be on your team. Maybe you do need to go get a little more of an obstacle specialist on your team so that we don't lose myself doing the penalty loop and another penalty loop, because again that makes a difference, made a huge difference for some of the teams
Yeah.
doing that.
And I think that's one thing too, is like having this first one, you're gonna have people afterwards. Now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we know exactly what to expect. Now we've seen it,
Yeah.
because you know how it is. You do that first one, it's like your first obstacle course, your first triathlon. It's that test to say, okay, now I know what I did wrong.
Yep.
Now I know have a strategy for the next one. And I will tell you, Pete was a riot for that first lap. So many people just would walk by, they'd say, hey, and he's like, nice to see, good to see you. And they would all of a sudden do like a double take, like, what?
That's Pete.
Yeah.
He had me laugh at that entire first loop. So
Oh my
yeah.
God.
So,
And he did finish Sunday as well, both the super and the sprint.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
he went back out there.
so yeah, Mike. I mean, so again, and I'm going to tell this to your listeners. Same thing I've unfortunately had to tell the last two folks that have been on. But at the moment, it can be announced. It'll be on the Spartan Para page as fast as it can be. I'm still hopeful that, because our person who's in charge of that part of our company does not live in the United States. So the next 2 days they aren't taking off like we are. So as we sit here today, talking on the date we're talking and stuff. But so I'm hoping still not too far from now we can announce this and have the venue out there and the date out there so people know what plans to make.
Yeah. Like I said, that's the biggest thing for me. Like this last one, there was such a short time to schedule it that it was like that. It just happened to be like the one weekend my wife's like, hey, we're going to go away, not Spartan related. And then I'm like, but I want to go to Florida. Yeah.
Well,
So
we'll give you more notice. I promise.
Yeah.
We'll give you more
I
notice.
almost had her there because my daughter was actually in Orlando that weekend for a funeral on her husband's side. I'm like, see, you can go visit Zoe and then I could go race, and almost, but just couldn't make it happen.
Man, if we got the news, Dan, like right before Central Florida, maybe you and I could even go on and do a Facebook Live and announce it. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot.
I really want it before then, Joey.
Okay. Hey, if that happens, then I'm for it. Yes. Before then, yeah, because that's
I do not want it in 3 weeks. I want it now. I'm
okay.
All I can say, Dan, is,
I'm just saying.
If you get it tomorrow, during which everyone figured out already that we're recording right before Thanksgiving. If you get it tomorrow during Thanksgiving dinner, we expect you to stop eating and announce.
I will go live. I will go live from the AMVETS while I'm serving dinner to the veterans up there, and we'll have all of them announce it as one.
That would be even. That would be. You gotta
awesome.
admit though, that would be amazing. That would be an amazing announcement.
That would be amazing.
So.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I don't know about you all, but for all of us, this is in the evening and stuff, and getting a little bit later. Anything you need to know from us, Mike? Is there? I mean, other than venue and date, what?
Actually, I did have one question for you guys. What did we learn? What did we learn from this? And are there going to be? I know there's going to be time to plan it. Are there already plans for changes?
Yes.
So
we need more people to fill the categories. So I don't have to combine categories. I had to combine categories this year. So like the upper and lower extremity are in two subcategories from each other, and I didn't have enough people in it. I'd had one person in one of the categories. Well, that's not a competition. No. So, and it wasn't as full as I wanted it to be. Some of them only had two people. But at least it was somebody had to be the champion. Somebody had to take second place. So that's the first thing. We've got to have more excitement, more build up. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of the gentleman who just did Atlas carry with only one leg.
Yes.
I need more him.
Yeah. That was amazing.
We need that video.
So it's a group that again, you guys know how fortunate I feel that I get to work with all these different charities and foundations. So it was a group that had a team out at San Antonio, brought a bunch of veterans out there. If you look in his backpack, his actual prosthetic leg is in his backpack for a lot of the race, including Atlas carry.
Wow.
So again, I know we have all these adaptive athletes out there. I know they're out there. I know they want to race.
Yes.
I know they want to be competitive. I need to get them to come to this event. And so that's the biggest thing, Mike. We've got to get the categories filled so we don't have to combine them. And then we've got the qualifications and the clarification of what puts you in this category as compared to that category.
That was what I was going to mention.
There are adaptabilities that if you're 90% of the time over here and only 10% of the time over here, we have to have a conversation, because you're going to have a little bit of an unfair advantage if you go over here where you only spend 10%, things like that, right? So we just need to work on that. I think we hit it really well on how we did the marshals. by using some good friends of mine from the Marines that I've been working with the past 2.5 years out of Tampa and Orlando from the recruiting stations. Anybody who was at Raymond James, not this past year, but the year before, and the Marines had a semi-trailer out there, interactive semi-trailer. They had almost 500 recruits out doing their PT and then again coming running the race. I pulled in that favor card and had Marines and Florida National Guard, and then Team Red, White, and Blue came through huge.
Yes.
And we had 2 marshals at every obstacle, along with the volunteer that was already there. We were able to really nail it down. So we will work on that again. I think it's important that the way we did it, the way we did the athlete briefing and made sure that all the questions were answered to the point of saying there's no reason, there's no excuse to not do it right on race day, because the marshals also have the exact same sheet I read off of on Saturday. They had it on Sunday, laminated at the obstacle. They could have asked right then and there, okay, just to make sure, what can I do? And it's like, well, here it is, right here it is. And it kept everybody honest. You know, we didn't have anybody walking up and tapping the obstacle and going to the penalty loop. This was the minimum requirement, or you were DQ'd. And so it wasn't a time penalty. You were DQ'd if you didn't do the minimum requirement. And everybody did the minimum requirement. So that's Mike, that's what we're going to take to the next one. Do it on Saturday, not on Sunday. Do it in the morning, not later in the day. Have the award ceremony be, instead of having a competitive, able-bodied, elite and age group super on Saturday, the para is the competitive one on Saturday, and then leave enough of a gap before the opens come, and then that's our award ceremony when everybody's in festival area and that kind of thing. So a lot of those little timing things that there was no option in Orlando. Orlando was put out as a sprint weekend. By the time we added the super, the only place we could put it was on Sunday, just the way it ended up being. So, but yeah, the things we learned, I believe, are all fixable. I mean, like, totally fixable.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is, it's one of those things. It's like I always talk about. Something that happened, if you're not learning from it, you're not paying attention. So, and that's the thing is, going forward, and I know that was your guys' plan, was to do this first one, get it done, and then see what needs to be done for the next one. Cause you're always evolving and always making it better, and that's one of the things that's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to see next year.
That is
going to be amazing.
So, and then anybody who's coming to Central Florida, we need some help with a bunch of adaptive athletes are coming out to be out there. So I believe we can still use some help, Joey. Are we full now?
Actually, we're full. We are full now. Thankfully, yes. Now that we've had some of the athletes from the VA, and teammates from the VA are coming down to help. I think we're solidified now. We're good. We've got enough people for Saturday for the Beast, for all 3 wheelchairs.
Nice. And again, you know amazing. What? The cool thing about that, Mike, that's what I love about our community. I sent one email out to folks from Honor and Remember Foundation, and he couldn't answer us back fast enough.
Right.
To connect with Joey. And this isn't a foundation that deals with adaptive athletes. It's not what they do. They present embroidered flags to Gold Star family members, but I work with them, and like, you know what? You come to races because I help you come to races. Now I need some help, and John and the team are like, what do you guys need?
Right.
That's awesome.
Yes, thank you, Dan, for help reminding me of that. Yes, they were the first to, like you said, reach out, and I think they're bringing a total of 6, including a Gold Star family member who wants to also participate and help an adaptive athlete. So that was amazing. And it is amazing, this community, how we can just come together and help each other.
I'm just hoping to watch it grow. To watch it grow around the country. We're starting with the World Championships, but then I'm hoping that gets the fire lit.
Yep.
And then
Yes.
we got people, you get more people in, here in Texas, you get people in, everywhere else starting to say, hey, I want to do that. And we can build upon that,
Yes.
with Oscar Mike and Dealers of Hope and everything else and start getting more athletes out there. Because I mean, right now, I mean, we have the East Coast covered, we've got, Seattle covered, with teams and, whatever else. I mean, we have people all over the country. It would be amazing just to be able to say, hey, every Spartan weekend, seeing somebody out there and the Dealers of Hope
Yes.
flag and Oscar Mike out there, and just that's what I want to see.
I would love to have it so I'd have to go to my production team and go, I need a heat for para athletes.
Yes.
To be able to go out there and the whole heat is nothing but para athletes and the foundations that are and their friends and family and their teammates are helping them get through the course. That I would love to be able to say that someday that we have a whole heat of 200 people out there attacking the course together.
And
I
real
hope
quick,
so.
I just on the way home, which was part of reason I was late. I was on the phone with a gentleman who wants to bring his brother who has Parkinson's to the Atlanta course next year for the sprint. So that's pretty why I was late. But I was finishing up the phone call with him and just saying, man, come on, we got you. So
That's awesome.
gonna be great.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. I can't wait to see more and just see where this goes.
Well,
Sure.
And
Mike,
I'm sure.
again, brother, you have been so generous with your time as we've been talking
Yes.
about
Always.
this before. I'm not even sure how many you did before because you brought on a bunch of different people. Um, you answered. I think you were actually typing your response before I finished typing my question about can we do a recap. I don't know how
Yeah.
you knew I was typing you a message, but I swear your answer came back as I hit send. And please please know that it's not lost on anybody who knows you and anybody who sees this. The passion you genuinely have for all the folks that we get to work with.
Yeah. No, I
Yes.
mean, it's, most people know, and I have told them this. I was done. I was done with Spartan. I was done. I'd been doing it since 2015. I was done. And then Boggs convinced me to go out and do a race with him with, at that time more heart than scars. And I'm like, okay, I'll do stuff with the team. And then I did a couple with Joey. And then I'm like, okay. So pretty much usually about the only time I'm doing them now is with the team. And I mean, because
Yeah.
it gives you that drive to
Yep.
see, like I said, I think my favorite is always still going to be in Houston. I can't remember his name, the gentleman with cerebral palsy, going over the A-frame and basically yelling
Oh,
in just
yes.
joy, and it's just like to see that and to hear that. I'm like that's what I'm here for. I mean, I could race 1,000 Spartans and never hit the podium as long as I get to hear that yell of joy
Yeah.
from
That
someone
was that
once.
was amazing. Yeah.
And that's what keeps me doing it. So I mean, anytime you guys need help, promoting this stuff, whatever you need me to, help with a team or run a team or do whatever, I mean, I'm here. So
Oh, I'm
yeah.
counting on you for Texas. So
Well, I've got most of the stuff. So I mean, there's
yeah, you
multiple
do.
races in
That's
Texas.
right.
So you give me
Uh,
athletes and a few people to help me, and I'll make it happen.
well, hopefully we're going to be hooking up with Ainsley's Angels again for Houston. So fingers crossed on
Well,
that one.
we got Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas. There's multiple
Oh
ones here.
yeah.
Just and I
Oh
could
yeah.
do multiples without ever leaving my state.
There you go. All
So,
right. But yes, thank you,
all
Mike.
right.
Thank you for all that you do.
Oh yeah, I'm here for you guys. So, if you guys want to do another one, and like I said, once we announce the next venue, if you want to come back on, I'm here. So,
All
All
right,
right.
brother.
all right. Thank you guys. We'll talk
Thank you
soon.
much.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
And cut.
All right. Perfect. Yeah. So yeah, let me know if you guys want to come on and do another one afterwards once you announce it or whatever you want to do. So
Okay.
I'm here. So
And we'll figure
Yes,
something out.
sir.
We'll make sure we announce it. We'll make sure we announce and get talking about it quickly and get registration information, all that kind of good stuff out as soon as we can.
oh yeah. So I definitely want to come out whether it's on a team or helping or whatever. So
Copy that.
because right on. All right.
All
We'll
All
talk
right,
right.
soon then.
guys.
All right.
Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Happy
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen. Talk
Take
to you
care.
guys later.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.